Welcome to the Geriatric Millennials. This is Jayme.
And this is Beth.
And we're two oldish, youngish ladies. What are we?
Cringe Purge.
Cringe. That's right.
It's the holiday season, so you know what it's about? Cringy.
Totally. It's so funny because when I was trying to think of my list, initially I thought, I don't have any holiday cringe. And then they started to come back to me. I mean, I have a very recent one, as a matter of fact. So.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I know.
Cringe,
thank you.
I love this process. I love talking about cringe, but it also, I love talking about cringe, but it is very challenging sometimes to relive this stuff.
Right.
There's one that I'm going to share that is just one that has been it's just been a story and an experience that has haunted me for a few years. And it's not just cringe, it's humiliation, cringe, all the things.
I can't wait to hear it.
It's really bad.
Are you sure you want to do this?
I think I have to because
you do now.
Now I do, yeah. I've talked it up now that people are going, oh, must be something serious. It was actually.
Well, you already talked about pooping your pants, so you are good.
Same. I know. I had a friend that was like, we listened to that episode. I'm like, with my family. And I was like,
great.
No. Yeah.
I think I had somebody say they were a little uncomfortable with the details. Yeah. And I was like, well, it's very cringy. Life. And you trying to tell me you haven't had an experience like that?
Listen, I'm just letting everybody know out there. Maybe you're in your early 20s. Probably not, because that's not really who listens to us.
Yeah.
If you're in your 30s, you're like, that will never happen to me. I just want to tell you, it is going to happen to you. You are going to have an accident in a way that you never thought possible, where you will be like, this is my life now.
Yeah.
And you're just going to have to deal with it.
Yep, you are.
That's just part of
growing up.
I love it. Okay, so give me one of yours. Give me your...
Okay, well, I will do the one that was very recent.
Okay.
I have to take a deep breath. Okay. It's not that bad, but still. Okay, so recently I had the pleasure of attending a homeschool Christmas program for all the homeschool kids in this community. And it was not in the Tri-Cities, actually. It was out of town. It was at my best friend's, and it was her kids' program. So I went to spend the day with her, and it happened to be the day they had their program. So I got to go watch, and it was super cute. So we get there, and it's a packed house. I mean, tons of people. And I was like, how are all these people here? It's 2:00 in the afternoon on a weekday. And it was packed. I mean, I don't know, homeschool families and their extended families, I guess. I don't know. But anyways, so it's a packed house, and the lady who was in charge of everything starts the program, and she tells everyone, she welcomes everyone and gives everyone a heads up of what to expect. And then she said, okay, everyone take out your phone. So everyone is supposed to take out their phone. And she's like, okay, now silence it.
Oh, no.
You know where this is going. She goes, silence your phone. And she's like, because you do not want to be that person.
No, you don't.
And of course, my phone is always on silent. And so I didn't take my phone out because it's already always on silent. I don't hear any calls or text messages. I don't have noises on my phone other than the alarms to pick up my kids.
Oh, no.
And the alarm that says, it's time you need to go pick up your daughter from school, because I need to have that alarm.
Yeah.
And I need to be able to hear it. Otherwise, I may lose track of time.
She's just sitting outside on the curb.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. So I was like, no, it didn't even occur to me at all that I should check that I should check the alarm, because I wasn't home. I wasn't in my normal routine. I wasn't picking up my daughter that day because I was out of town. And so, oh my gosh. So this program starts at 2:00. Well, guess what time my alarm goes off? It goes off at 3:05.
Oh.
And so we're in the middle of this program. It was a pretty long program. And the kids are up there singing their Christmas songs. All of a sudden,
it's just
you hear my alarm. You hear my alarm. And fortunately, I have a watch that's connected to my phone. And so I felt it vibrate immediately. And I was able to I was frantically trying to push stop on my phone. So I didn't have to dig out my phone.
Yeah.
Or on my watch. So I didn't have to dig out my phone and then turn it off.
Oh, absolutely.
I was just so it wasn't super disruptive. And I think only the people that were like right, in front and right beside me heard it. But I was embarrassed. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm that person. Like, what? And she had warned us, and I thought, there's fine.
No way. I would never.
My phone's on silent, people. Like, why would I think that there would be an issue with that? I mean, I just didn't think about the alarm. And so that was a little cringy for me because I was just like, and I'm a guest, and I'm like, and it's my friends, and it's her kids are up there. And I was just, I mean, it didn't interrupt the program. They just kept going. But I was just like,
it's that anxiety now.
Yes. Well, and also the fact that she had specifically said, you don't want to be that person. Believe me. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm that person.
Oh my God. That is one of those things that is honestly one of my fears is having my phone go off in an event like that, or like during live theater or a concert or at the movie, anywhere that it would be disruptive. Terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah, it kind of was. And I mean, I did get to it really quick because of my watch, but it was still, I mean, people around me heard, and my best friend was just like, oh my gosh.
Nothing like a bestie to just call you out.
So yeah, that was a little cringy.
Yeah, I like that.
It was very recent last week for me.
Well, okay. I don't know if I've shared this before, so forgive me if I have. I'm old now, and stories don't, you know what I mean? Like, you tell the same stories over and over as you get older.
Unfortunately, I realize that I do that now. And so I'm just like my mom.
Yeah. I've noticed it so much more with my friends now. I'm like, I've already heard this story. I've already heard this story. I've actually heard this story 4 times, but I always just let people keep going.
Well, the other night I was at a party, and this lady told the same story over and over again at the same time, like one after the other. Like, she kept saying it, and I was just like, you realize?
I know.
Maybe she was drunk, but I was like,
I think sometimes people need to process.
Just said that, and again, you just said it again.
It can be rough, but you know what? I am a firm believer that sometimes people just need to process and say it, and I'm just like, what else am I doing with my life?
Right?
Like,
it's okay.
It's fine.
It's okay.
It's not a big deal, unless it's like my mom, and then I'm like, shut your trap hole, woman. I've heard this story 16 times in the last 3 days. You need to stop.
Okay, so I'm okay hearing. Is it a cringe story?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm okay hearing it again.
Okay. So
even if I have heard it.
So it's like, I don't know, 1991 probably. And it was a family Christmas party.
So let's say 11 years old.
I was about 11, and I just turned 11. And we always used to do Christmas with our shirt tail neighbors who are like,
what does that mean?
They're like our cousins, but they're like, it was like my grandma's cousins, brother-in-law. I don't remember, but it's like we're family, but not like super closely related. But we grew up with them, and so we'd always, our family was always kind of like the Connors on, the TV show Roseanne.
Yeah,
we're kind of like that, working class. Like, our backyard was always scruffy. We never had like a boat or fancy stuff. We just kind of lived, and we were the neighbors that were going to have a fun party, but might not. We'd have weeds in our yard. Right. I mean, not like to the point of like call the county, but like very much like not a perfect family. Where next door, they were very into perfection,
Oh, and appearances.
And like they had one son, and they just were very much more conservative than my family, and very like their kid didn't get to watch, like they didn't have cable. He got to watch like sing-along songs, which were like, Father Abraham type stuff, or like there's a hole in my bucket, and we would go over there and watch that stuff, and I was like, this is all you got? Like, okay. So it was just very different, different vibes. So we go over there, and everybody's dressed nice. My mom's in this like white pantsuit white pants with a really pretty Christmas sweater. I think I'm probably in like kid gear, like whatever. So we're all sitting around the table, and we'd have these big meals, and it would be like not fine china, but it'd be nicely set, and like the kids were integrated at the table, and we're having ham, and this is when I was eating the meats, and we're having mashed potatoes and gravy and sides, and we pass it around. Like, it doesn't go, but we do a pass around.
Yeah.
So it's passing around, and they have this giant gravy bowl, and it comes to me, and I'm hoisting it with all my might, and it's a fancy one too. And as I'm hoisting it up to pass to my mom,
that's why you mentioned the white pants.
Yeah, I dump basically the whole thing of gravy all over her.
Oh no!
And so she was just like so.
Was it scalding hot?
I don't think so, because it'd been around. We just started, and it wasn't like right off the oven, but it was warm, I'm sure.
Oh, Beth.
So I dump it on her.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
So embarrassed, because shockingly, you wouldn't know it, but I am quite the perfectionist, and I have a really hard time when I make mistakes. Like it kills me when I mess things up. So I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I couldn't
Not to
believe
mention
it.
the gravy's all gone.
Well, we had more on the stove. They were fine. But then it was just like everybody started laughing at me.
Aww.
And so then it was like I got really embarrassed.
I
And
bet.
I have a hard time when I get embarrassed, like coming back from that.
Well, also you were 11.
Yeah. And it was grown-ups and whatever. And so then like we're passing stuff, and now they're kind of skipping me, like, as we're passing.
Beth hold anything.
But that sentiment lasted for years.
What?
So like for years after, like
it was kind of a mean joke to you? Like they wouldn't let you hold anything?
Yeah, they would just like pass the gravy. Like they would like, don't give it to her. And it lasted for a few years. I think probably until I was like, teenager, where they would do that. And it was just like.
That was a reminder.
It was a reminder. And it was so embarrassing.
They all didn't forget.
They all didn't forget. And then they'd laugh about it. And it's like, I couldn't laugh at it because I was so embarrassed and I was so upset about it. And I have a feeling like a memory. I probably got a look from my mom of like, anger too. So it was just like, it was so cringy and awful. And so even now when I'm passing foods at parties, it makes me think of it.
I think you were traumatized maybe.
I probably was over stupid gravy, but
yeah.
But it's everything that came with it. So it's just like so cringy, and it brings up such memories of like shame.
Oh, that sucks.
And I'm like, that totally sucks.
Do you remember, did your mom go home and change? I mean,
I
think she ran next door.
Yeah, she ran next door and like, I think got a different pair of pants on. But then it's like, again, it spotlights you. And I'm just like, oh no, I don't like it. Like,
no kidding.
Yeah. And it's so annoying how those type of moments in childhood impact or can impact like how you see yourself and like how the family treats you and the inside jokes. And it's all good and fun when it's like you're in on the joke and you're cool with it. But when you're not, it's so hard.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. Anyway.
I don't know. I don't remember that story, even if you did share it in the past. So
I probably just relive it every holiday season.
Gosh,
so.
I'm so sorry.
And to this day, I don't have gravy on my table. Even now when I have mashed potatoes, I don't have gravy. Like even
because
vegetarian gravy. I'm not a gravy person.
Do you think it's because of that?
I mean, deep-seated fear of gravy, I guess, or just
spilling the
triggering.
Mm-hmm. Jeez.
Yeah, rough.
Okay.
My gravy trauma.
I have another one.
Yes.
Also holiday related. So this was a few years back, and I was asked, we lived in a small community, and I was asked to be in charge of the Christmas play for the adult Christmas program at church.
Okay.
That sounds weird.
I know what you're talking about though, because they have adult play, like where they act it out.
It was like they have a banquet for adults, and then they have a program. And so it's not like a family thing with a bunch of kids, but it's not like adult content. You know what I'm trying to say? Okay. Cause I mean, it's in a church and whatever. Yeah. Okay. So blah, blah, blah. I and a couple other people came up with this really fun, cool play, and we practiced it. We were all ready for it. And I thought it was really good. Cause I mean,
yeah, you're involved.
And cause like I wrote it. And so I thought it was good because it was my idea. But that's not the point. And that's not the point of the story. So we're doing, so it's the night of the performance, which was only one night. Mm-hmm. So we had one shot, to do it and to get it right. And so I'm in the play as well. So I didn't just write it and I can't take all the credit because we had some other input of like how it went. But anyways, the point is I was part of it and I was a character and I was totally in my character. And it came to the part where I was getting a phone call. And in the moment that part of the play came up, I realized that I had forgotten my phone.
Oh no. You don't have your prop.
I didn't have my prop.
Oh, shoot.
I didn't have my prop. And it was an integral part of the scene because I needed to have that conversation on the phone for the next part of the play to actually make sense.
Yeah.
And I didn't, and it was a realistic type of a play. And so I didn't want to just like use my hand.
Yeah, banana phone. Yeah. Oh. What did you do?
Are you going to ask me? Okay, thank you.
No, I'm just waiting. I'm like, suspense.
So I improvised. Mm-hmm. And so I start going, oh my gosh, do you hear that? Do you hear that? I hear my phone. Where is my phone? I can hear it. And so I start walking and I literally walk off the stage and I was like, I can hear my phone. I know it's ringing. And I walked all the way into the crowd where my husband was sitting
and took his phone.
And took his phone or my phone, a phone, and then like answered it.
Yeah.
And then proceeded with the thing. Yeah. I thought that was kind of brilliant.
That was good. That was good on the fly.
I totally covered up. Like nobody knew any different.
Yeah.
But in that moment, I was just like,
oh crap.
I felt, it was very, I was like, oh crap. Yeah. It was a cringy moment because I was just like, what do you even do? Mm-hmm. I mean, because you're on the spot. Everyone's watching you. Everyone's doesn't know what's next, but you do. And you're like, what do you know? Yeah. So, I mean, it's a different type of cringe, but it was in that very moment, a feeling of just like my heart sank. And I was just like, oh, like, crap.
Yeah, that sucks. Yeah. But I'm proud of you for like figuring it out though.
Thank you.
Because not everybody can do that. Some people would have just been like, grab their shoe or a fake hand, you know, like.
No, it worked out. And nobody knew that that wasn't part of it.
Yeah. I'm glad that the people around you too just
totally
rolled with
covered
it.
up. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was kind of cringy in the moment of just like, you know, not being prepared.
Well, I feel like you were prepared and you had it. And then all of a sudden just one little thing threw it off.
Yeah.
And it's, I don't know, stuff like that too. I can think it could be easy to be like, oh my gosh, how could I be so,
Yeah.
Yeah. Super frustrating.
Yeah. Because it was my fault.
Your thing.
It wasn't anybody else's prop.
Yeah. So I have this is my fault story. So, this was a Christmas, I think this was the Christmas before, I think it was like the Christmas before COVID happened. And I've shared before that I struggle sometimes with like mental health and depression and just whatever. Yeah. And I was having a really hard Christmas. Like it was Christmas Eve and I think I spent the whole day just rotting in bed and I just couldn't get up, but I had to go see my family. And I had like an aunt and uncle come into town and my mom and my grandpa was alive at the time. And so we were doing this like family dinner and the whole day I felt so down. And it probably been like a week or so of me just feeling really down, but it was coming to a head of just like, it's probably the most depressed I have felt in like years and years and years. Oh, like to the point where I was like, do I need to call someone? Because I just feel like I am in an empty void and it's the holidays and I need to go be merry. And I just, all I wanted to do was crawl into my bed, curl into a ball and just like numb the world. Like I did not want to be around anybody. And so I tried to rally. And this is at the time I'm doing youth ministry. So just like recently, just a few days before I was doing like big events with the kids and there's just a lot of energy that gets put out.
Right.
And all of that energy was gone. My battery is low and all of a sudden my serotonin or whatever in your brain does its thing drops. It's like no happy feelings. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I'm driving over to my grandpa's house where everybody's at. And I get a text and I didn't recognize the number. It came up different. And it was just like, hey, this is the pastor. Like, I'm just reaching out. Like there's some stuff going on, blah, blah, blah. Can you help me out? And I should have known better and I should have double checked, but I was in this place of just, I couldn't, like, I didn't think about anything other than like, oh my gosh, one more thing, one more person asking me for help and to do something. And I'm on the verge of complete like collapse and whatever. And so I get into the house and I'm texting back and forth. And like, this has happened before where like my pastor got a new phone number or something. And, I didn't even think about it. So yeah. It goes to a horrible place. They're like, hey, I'm at the hospital with one of our parishioners and I need like a gift card.
Uh-oh.
And
you got scammed?
I got totally scammed. Like I'm not in my right frame of mind, right? Like I am in literal survival mode. And now this, who I think is my pastor, is asking for something. And they're like, I need this right now. I'm at a hospital. This needs to happen kind of thing. Like I don't have the resources I need. Can you go do this for me? So I'm trying to figure out how to like get this gift card online to get to her. Again, I am not taking time. I am in survival mode. Right. And so my brain is not computing at all. Okay, I'm only thinking about, I have to get this task done. No. And I'm with my family who was causing me stress anyway. So I'm super stressed out to be with the family. I'm coming into the situation with like really, really, really depressed with the family. which it adds a level of anxiety. And then my pastor's reaching out. So I like leave to go to a store. And I'm at like the Fred Meyer buying gift cards. And they're like, oh, can you, I need him. I'm at the hospital. I'm like, I'm by the hospital. I'll drop him off. They're like, no, scratch the code. And I'm just like, I will do anything to make this stop because it's Christmas Eve and I want to go home. And anyway, so like all of this stuff goes down. And, and like, so I end up buying 2 gift cards. And then I purchased a third online, but it didn't go through. And so I get through the night and I get home and I go to bed. And the next morning I wake up and there's all these texts like, hey, you're going to send the next one, blah, blah, blah. And that morning, guess what? I'm back to normal. My serotonin levels are up.
And you like, and you go, whoa.
I'm like, wait, what happened? Like, what? And like, it's like it was like I was a different person. And so as I'm getting up, I mean, I'm still groggy. So I'm getting up, I'm looking through the texts and all of a sudden I'm like, oh my gosh, what happened last night? Like, it was like I was not in my right state of mind.
Oh my goodness.
And so I'm like, I start laughing so hard. I have to call like the church like secretary and let her know what's going on. Like, oh my gosh, I just did this thing. It was so stupid because I did it with my church credit card.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh. So then I had to file like a police report and I'm laughing into the phone. Like, officer, I'm the youngest one at the church.
How did you get scammed?
I don't know how this happened. And then I'm calling, it was eBay. So I'm calling eBay and they're like, we're going to trace it, blah, 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 all this stuff. I'm dying laughing because I'm like,
at least you could laugh about
I was
it.
like, I can't even believe that this is the way I'm starting like the holiday and all this stuff. And just like, I couldn't believe it. And I was just like, I was so embarrassed. And then guess how much I gave them?
Oh.
Just guess.
$300?
$600.
What?
$600.
Jeez.
I was just like, again, laughing. And thankfully I'm in a place where like $600 is a good chunk of money and it could go through a lot of things, but it wasn't like, it didn't kill me, you know?
Yeah.
And so anyway, so it was so awful. And so I offered to pay it back out of my pocket to the church and like.
They didn't refund or
the credit card didn't do anything because I had bought them willingly and did it willingly and it didn't matter. And eBay is useless and they don't care about the fact that like millions of people get scammed out of money this way. And like, I just thought it wouldn't happen to me because whatever. And I was so embarrassed. I was so ashamed. And then I just told the church, I'm like, I'll pay for it, but don't tell anybody that this was what I did because I can't believe how stupid I was. And the bigger thing is like, it wasn't that I got scammed. It's that I didn't want to tell people why I got scammed because at the time I was trying to hide the fact that I was like I was really struggling with depression because people put a weird stigma on you. And it's like, you don't want your youth minister to be like in depressive episodes, right? Because I think people, in my head, I think people are gonna be like, oh, I don't want that kind of person working with my student, or that maybe they're not safe, or maybe they are not equipped to handle like the emotions that come with this role. So I really didn't want people to know, to be like, well, how did this happen? Like, you're young and smart and whatever.
Yeah.
And me be like, no, I was like super depressed, like to the point I probably should have called a hotline, but I didn't because I just didn't, you know, and I was just like,
bought gift cards.
I went and bought gift cards and I'm like, and then the next day I laughed. And
I'm glad you could laugh about it.
Yeah.
But man.
But it was so cringy. It was so embarrassing. It was like so humiliating. And now I'm so like, I can never in my life get scammed again because it's like, I can't go through that again.
Yeah.
Like I can't go through that again. So anyway, that was
I don't think you will.
I don't think so either, unless it's like I get another horribly depressive episode and somebody catches me at the wrong time.
Yeah, the timing of that. Because on a
awful.
normal day,
I would have never. No. I would have seen that, and I would have immediately texted the pastor's real number, like, "What's going on?" And the thing is that there was a scam going around our town where people were going to church websites and finding any number they could find and contacting them. And what had happened is we had a newsletter for the youth group that had my phone number on it that got left. The phone number got left up on the main page, and so that's how they found me. And so then I was like, can we please scrub our internet of any of my like personal information?
Yeah.
And it was just a mess.
Wow.
So yeah, I wrote a check for $600 and hope those scammers.
That sucks that you had to pay for it.
Yeah, it was fine. Like it was fine. I was at a small church, so yeah.
Jeepers.
I was just like, well,
I'm sorry.
It's fine. At least I get to live with the knowledge that I am scammable. Anyway, it was so
goodness.
bad. Even now,
I'm glad
I just
that the
feel
next
it.
day you were able to laugh and that you were in your right mind.
Yeah.
I'm
But
glad to
I
hear
can't
that.
even tell you, like, going that switch of being like, if anybody's ever been in a depressive episode and how it's like, it feels like it's never going to end. And then it would dramatically ended the next day. It was just like, oh my gosh, like, why couldn't this come a day sooner? I don't know. Anyway, cringe.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Give me your next one. I know you have another.
I do have one more. I have one more. Okay. This is a different direction.
I would hope so, Jayme. I would hope so.
I'm just trying to think, like, how do I frame this story? Okay. So I'm a young adult.
Okay.
And I'm living in Belize.
Okay.
And the summer before I moved to Belize, I was working at a restaurant. I was working at Red Lobster in Canada. Okay. So I worked at Red Lobster and then moved to Belize for the fall because that year I was going to teach school.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So I was a teacher at this small community school, very remote. I lived in a village. My roommate and I lived in a thatched roof hut. They turn the electricity off at night. We have an outhouse. Like this is just how we lived. And it was great. And so I was teaching school. I taught 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade all in one class, no curriculum. It was very stressful. I was like 19 or 20, 20, maybe 21. I don't know, somewhere around there. So Christmas break is coming. And my friend from Red Lobster says he wants to come to Belize. Tells me he's coming to Belize. He already has a ticket. He's coming to Belize for the holidays. I'm like, oh, okay. All right then. He's coming. And I think he had a crush on me. And I think he was coming, to see me.
Yeah.
Also coming to Belize, like to see Belize, but he was coming to see me.
Yeah.
And I had since kind of gotten a boyfriend.
Oh, shoot. And this is pre-internet. This is pre-social media.
Oh, totally. Pre-social media, pre-internet. I mean, I don't even know how we communicated. I mean,
wow.
I really don't even know. I mean, we had no phone in our hut, in this thatched roofed hut that I lived in. Yeah, those details are really fuzzy. But the part that I remember is that I decided that I was going to go home for Christmas.
Oh, shoot.
So I was going to go be with my family, which was in Canada. And I think there was some kind of there was a little bit of a crisis happening in my family. And I felt like I really, I needed to go.
Yeah.
I needed to go be with my family and not be by myself or with this random friend in Belize. And so, but he had already bought his ticket and he was coming to Belize. And I was just like, I had to let him know that I wasn't going to be there. And I remember feeling like, how do I tell him? Like what? But also, I'm not going to be here. Like, I'm not going to not go be with my family.
To be with some rando in
for
Belize.
him to, for him. And so he's, and okay, I was the only person he knew in Belize. Again, I lived in this remote community. I mean, very remote. And so there's no public transportation to get where I lived.
Yeah.
There was public transportation in Belize is not great now. And this is like 25 years ago. And so it was like non-existent then, basically. And where we lived, there literally was no transportation to get there.
There's no Uber, no taxi.
No, there isn't even a bus. Nothing goes there unless you live there, kind of thing. And there is, and it's private land. Like there were gates that you had to get permission to even go there.
So this is like, I mean, wow,
it's very remote. And I was just like, I'm not going to be here. Like I don't even remember how I communicated to him, but I had to let him know. Okay, you're coming, but
I'm not here.
I'm actually not going to be here. And so I feel like I did a good job in making arrangements for him because I paid somebody to pick him up from the airport.
He still came?
Oh, he still
Psycho.
He still came to Belize. I never saw him. He came to Belize. I paid someone to go pick him up from the airport. And then I asked my friends if he could stay there. I said he could stay in my house, but I wasn't going to be there. So he did. He totally came.
Oh my gosh.
He stayed there. And then he went with my roommate friends to her house and they showed him around, and I don't even know where all he stayed, what all he did, but I just remember the feeling of like, this person's coming to see me, and I know that in a way, like it's the wrong thing to do, to like leave the country. But at the same time, I felt like my commitment to my family was more important than I needed to. I wasn't going to be there.
Yes.
And so, but isn't that kind of a cringy situation?
I feel like it's so, okay. I'd say this is his cringe purge. That is so creepy and cringy. To just like,
that's kind of
hey,
true.
We worked together for a while at a Red Lobster and you're in a foreign country. I'm just going to come visit you. I already bought my ticket. That's deranged.
Okay. I kind of think so too. Yeah.
Yeah. And then when you're like, oh, I'm actually going to be with my family. He's like, I'm still coming. And then you proceeded to like make arrangements for him.
See, the thing is that again, my memory's not great.
Yeah.
I have some fuzzy recollection of those kind of details. Like, was I originally planning to be there and then I changed my mind? I'm not sure about that part. All I know is that he was coming and then I was not going to be there and he came anyways.
No, it's a hard no. That's pass. That's a weirdo.
Well, it was a little bit. Yeah. And it was, I mean, I kind of felt relieved because I was just like, I didn't want to have to deal.
That.
But I'm a little cringy now of like putting that on my friends.
It was kind of you. I think what's cringier is that he stayed in your place. Like, who knows what he rifled through?
I mean, I didn't have a ton of belongings, but yeah, probably everything.
Like,
I don't
just
know.
So cringe.
I don't even know.
Ew.
Yeah. So
youth, man.
Right?
You know what I mean? That's like, yeah.
And so, yeah, again, I don't even remember how we communicated. I don't know. This was way back in the day, guys, but that was another like holiday cringe story.
Yeah.
I was just like, peace out. And I had a great time with my family. And then he, we didn't cross paths because I mean, he went back to where he lived and then I went back to Belize and never did see him.
Oh my gosh. I just feel like that's such a late teens, early 20s event.
Yeah. He was a little older than me though. I mean, I think he was in his later 20s.
That's even worse.
I know.
Okay. Oh, you dodged one there. Wow.
Well, okay. I do think he maybe thought we had something going on because we had actually kissed.
Okay. That doesn't mean you go.
But he was not my boyfriend.
World. Yeah.
Not in my mind, nothing was going on.
Yeah.
And I had a different boyfriend. And that was going to be cringy too because I was like, he's going to come. I'm seeing someone. He's going to come here and have some kind of expectation that we'll probably kiss, maybe.
Yeah.
And I was like,
kiss.
And I was like, I have a boyfriend.
Yeah. Yeah. Just the fact that you were gone long enough to like establish a new life and have a new boyfriend. And he still was like, hey, I'm coming. Is just so cringe.
Yeah. Yeah. So there you go.
Nice.
A little glimpse into my past.
Cringy, man. Well, hopefully this season is going to have no cringies.
The first story I shared was this season, but yeah, I mean,
just kidding. I thought that was maybe last year.
No, that was last week.
Well, no cringies for me. A cringy for you.
Yeah. It's okay though.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just life. We've all got cringe.
We all have it, and it's you grow from it, right? You learn, you grow. Yeah. I mean, I would prefer never, but I guess it's better than just it's having a perfect life.
It's great podcast content. That was preparing us for this moment,
I guess. If you're enjoying the podcast and would like to support the show, you can share episodes with your friends and family, follow us on Instagram at the Geriatric Millennials, or leave us a positive review and rating, all which help us to grow. Our theme music was created by the Finley Ghost. Check out their latest album now. Thank you so much.